painting to photography, from beadwork to woodworking, KQAL FM on the campus of Winona State University presents Artbeat. Artbeat highlights the work and accomplishments of local artists from in and around Winona. Support for Artbeat is made possible by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
All right, Artbeat, here we are. We're back, just like I promised. Today with me is Patrick Lichty and Davin Heckman. They are both professors here at Winona State University in the Mass Comm department. And they're holding a conference here on campus called, it's the iDMAa. It's the International Digital Media Arts Association. And, well, I'll ask you guys. Welcome to the show, first of all, and thanks for being with us today, guys.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
For sure. So, this year's, it's a theme, right, for this year, the weird media?
Yeah.
Weird media. I mean, you know, this conference has caught my eye in the past, but this time I was like, weird media? What? So, maybe I'll let you guys talk a little bit about, International Digital Media Arts Association what exactly does that entail? You know, for those of us who aren't, deep into that.
Well, it's an organization that's been around now like over 20 years, and they are focused on art and commercial media that's like incorporates some sort of digital process. It's an organization we brought like philosophers and artists and educators together, students,
right, to
talk about digital media and its effects on culture. And it's an organization that describes itself as like militantly marginal. So the goal is always to kind of kick around at the fringes of digital media, and so it's a perfect place. I think Winona is a perfect place to host these kinds of events. And
right.
It's the third time we've hosted. We'll be hosting it every year,
cool,
indefinitely around different themes, and but that's what we're all about. Yeah,
it's now a Winona tradition, which is great.
Yep.
You want to maybe pull your mic up? These arm, you can just pull the arm up. Yeah, there
Let's
we go.
see here. Well, I'll just scoot you in a little bit.
Oh,
That's all right.
hold up. Operator error. It was my fault. I had the wrong microphone pulled up.
Okay.
So, all right, we got Patrick with us too now.
Fantastic. Yeah, super.
Yeah. So what about weird media? What constitutes weird? Is it like, something different as opposed to like, say, I use my camera to make photographs? Is it like using like whittling? Like odd types of media?
Okay.
Like what is it?
So I kind of came up with this. Is that it's like if you look at the origin of the word weird, it's sort of like like the Fates or the sisters in Macbeth were called the Weird Sisters. And so what's going on here is that it actually goes from like old German say like challenging fate or that sort of thing, but as it's grown over the years, it's kind of meant to be sort of like different or a little bit unnerving or uncanny or something like that. So basically, when I put this together, I said, okay, what's something, I've been curating for almost 25 years now in this area of digital media, and I said, what can we bring that's a little different to Winona? And I think that's we've done that. We've got almost 85 artists from around the world, almost every continent, and there's some things that are going to be familiar to people. We've got fantastic faculty members doing amazing work like Tal Nemeth, and let's see here, going as far as Korea and Iran, some really interesting technologies, and we've got some VR pieces. We've got a rotating LED display thing, and some augmented reality. It's really cool. And of course, we've got John Keston, who's going to be doing a fantastic electroacoustic set with live graphics.
Okay.
Down at Broken Records,
Nice.
Along with Swashbuckler. And I think really what happens is that as this thing has grown, I'm really kind of, I'll give a foreshadowing of something else. It's like I'm very much into sort of like process. So in other words, I kind of put this thing in motion, and an art exhibition is actually a living thing. It shifts in front of you, it wiggles in front of you, which I think is kind of weird.
Right.
And it's like I love the.
I often wiggle in front of people.
Well, you know what?
Uncontrollably.
It makes me. Well, you know what happens? It makes me think of that swashbuckler lyric. We're all worms and we love earwax. I love that. But anyways, I'm a big swashbuckler fan. So anyways, what happens is that, as I kept going, I said, okay, well, you know what? This is familiar and this is different. And how can we juxtapose all these things in the space? And it's like we've got Tommy Mintz from a group called Techspressionism. That's a worldwide group of people doing technological expressionist work. And then he's got a 24-foot mural that he generated from code compositing photos from New York.
Wow.
And amazing. And so as I said, we've got just people from all over the world doing really innovative work, and I hope that's going to be really inspirational to the global community, to the local community, and to the students who are going to be involved.
Right. I think this might be a good time. I should mention the conference happens this weekend, June 24th through the 26th. So that's Friday through Sunday, right? So there'll be, already talked. There's exhibitions of artwork, and there are also workshops, aren't there? So what kind of workshops can we expect?
Yeah, I mean, so there'll be a lot of talks. So artist talks and scholarly talks, and a number of the artists featured in the exhibition will be, doing talks.
Okay.
For the conference goers, and probably some things that people would want to maybe look out for. Margaret Dolinsky is going to be doing a live sort of talk at the Marine Art Museum, where she's bringing part of her works involve these kayaks that she's created, and she'll be dropping those in the water and paddling around the Mississippi. I guess I don't know, Hunter. I don't know what to expect.
But I don't know what's going to go on, man.
That's on the schedule. We've got Stephanie Bullock and Patrick Lemieux. They've written this book, Metagaming. They're doing a workshop that's ongoing right now for students here all week, where they're going to be making weird video games, and they'll be doing a talk on Saturday night. There's stuff all throughout the day, especially Saturday is a busy day, and so there'll be lots of different talks, and then some workshops. I think Rob Wittig is coming down to do a little he does this improvisational, like, web-based performance. He's doing a little workshop. So it'll be kind of like a busy really 48 hours of action is what it comes down to, starting Friday afternoon. People can still register for the conference. We try to keep the prices reasonable if you want to attend. It does cost us some money to put it on, so especially the exhibition, to do a nice exhibition. The exhibition's free and open to the public. That's in the Laird Norton building. And our hours for people to drop in would be 6:30 to 8 on Friday, 1 to 8 p.m. on Saturday, and 1 to 5 p.m. on Sunday. And you really don't want to miss that. I mean, it's right across the street from the city library. It's going to be something to behold. Anybody wants to know more, probably the fastest way to find out about it is the iDMAa.org website.
And the gallery website is up now too. So
and you can
on there.
you can find it all if you go to the iDMAa website. You should be able to find a lot of that information.
There's a lot of good info there, and then the Facebook page as well.
The
iDMAa.
iDMAa. We've also got it's not too much on it right now, but we've also got a gallery page for iDMAa too.
Cool. And I know you guys mentioned, I think before we went on the air, did you say 80 artists? Is that
80 plus, between 80 and 90? I can't remember.
Cool.
But
Great.
So we've got about 30 or 40 video artists. We've got about 15, 20 things on the wall. We've got computer-based interactive stuff. We've got some crazy sculptures. We've got this group called PlantBot Genetics coming in, and they've got these we've got these cabbages that dance to party rock, and it's like it's
Really?
like they're great.
Wow.
It isn't this necessarily this. So the thing is, you've got some of the stuff that's has these these really interesting critical messages, and then you have some stuff that's beautiful, and you have some stuff that's just kind of like partying out. So this is the idea for me. What I think is like weird. So the idea is like you're going someplace and you're going to find something a little different, a little, you're going to find stuff familiar and unfamiliar. And so it's, as opposed to like, when you go to a gallery, you just kind of think it's like sometimes it could be this stuff that's kind of all the same, it's a little boring and that sort of thing. That's not my intention. I want this to be something that, you can go in and say, oh, wow, that's kind of interesting. That's a little weird.
Yeah. I like that. I think both of you guys have mentioned so far there'll be some stuff that's familiar and stuff that's not familiar. And I really like that because that helps to draw me in a lot of times when I go to things like that. Is like if there's something familiar there, it breaks it up for me, where I'm not just looking at stuff that I'm, trying to figure out the whole time. Once in a while, it's nice to just be, hit with a dad joke or something, hit with something that you're just familiar with, just makes you smile. It's like, haha, oh, look, that was cool. Helps you move on and think a little deeper about other things. What are some like highlights that you guys might want to tell folks about? Any exhibits or artists that you're super pumped about, or like, just events or.
Oh my! Well, we've got the one thing that I kind of want to say is that there's a lot of artists working with artificial intelligence lately.
Okay.
As I said, in our department, Town Mammoth's done a fantastic piece using this thing called Night Cafe and that sort of thing. It's a really big piece. We've got Scott Kildall from San Francisco who's got a VR piece called Exotopia, and basically you put on this thing. It's like an atlas. It's like a star atlas of the known exoplanets, and you can go fly to them and see what's going on with those. We have let's see here, what else we have. Who do you like so far?
Well, I mean, so the things that I think I'm very excited about. I mean, I've already seen sort of Talon's work, which is great because I'm like so excited for people to see that, because that's a nice big piece. It's beautiful. It's unlike a lot of the sort of AI stuff that I've seen people doing. I mean, these are really
very different,
really, really cool images, and I'm interested to see sort of people's reactions as they engage with them.
The thing that I really like is that, I mean, we've got some people who, we've got some people from far away, like Mina Chan, who's she's South Korean, but her parents were North Korean, and it has this painting that she did called Missiles Goodbye, and it's actually out of my collection. And so the thing is that she's kind of like looking at this, she's kind of like this North Korean mother, watching this missile going away, and she's saying, it's like, are we actually seeing the end of this, or and so it's a really interesting question. And another we have let's see here, an Iranian artist by the name of Negin Etasabyan, who did a piece called In Pieces. It was a mail art piece that was supposed to go from Iran to the West and that sort of thing. And it's basically kind of a self-portrait.
Okay.
And, really kind of beautiful thing, but talking about, how people going from the third world to the first world kind of have to, like, disassemble themselves and reassemble themselves and all that sort of thing. And a lot of video pieces are really fantastic. Gregory Little has a beautiful piece called, I think it's... kind of like melting into space, and it's just this beautiful kind of abstracted piece. But the thing is that he's been painting for about 30 years, and he comes out of Yale, and you can see like just this beautiful depth in the work. So as I said, there's just a lot of work coming, and you're gonna love it.
Yeah. Cool. Some other ones that I'm thinking about is Jablonski. Sonogram, sort of immersive trip into the body.
You know what? Why don't we just go there? So Mina Sumarich Jablonski, who's a colleague of mine out of Limassol, Cyprus.
Okay.
And so what happens? This is a 360-degree video, which is a visualization of the sonogram that she got from her colonoscopy. But the thing is, it's really beautiful, though. It's this like this sound wave sort of thing that's going around, but it's gorgeous.
Like Inner Space.
Yeah, seriously.
Like the movie Inner Space, kind of.
Or like our Fantastic Voyage.
Oh, right, sure,
Erwin Allen, right? Yeah. So anyway, I'm not sure, but yeah.
Yeah, and The Octopad. So Patrick
yeah.
Lemieux is installing the Octopad. It's like an 8-player game controller. So a large mob of people can play Tetris all together, but only doing very specific functions. So it's like an NES that you have to play cooperatively.
So you right, yeah. So you have to work together to make it operate.
Yeah. So
wow.
a video game. I think that'll be a really kind of fun piece. I've seen videos of it. It looks super fun. I've talked to him about it. I'm like actually excited to see people sitting around playing it, and I want to play it. Right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And we've got a couple out of Grand Rapids who are doing something called Retrack, and so basically what it is, it's a little abstract to hear about, but what happens is it's a couple picture discs that they have augmented reality tracking these things with their iPhones, and they're taking the audio and visual component that the app is making, and they're projecting it into the space. So in other words, they're like changing the records and and having this thing going on. And then we've got another guy, let's see here, Dominic, and I can't remember his last name, but he's doing this thing.
Rivers?
Yeah, Dominic Rivers. Yeah, he's doing this piece called Cucamonga, and so what? So it's this retro VHS sort of thing, but he's kind of like the first little piggy. He's making this big straw hut and that sort of thing that people are going. So the thing is, this is a sort of vision, of these artists who are willing to take chances, and get a little weird, and bring something that's thought-provoking, novel to the iDMAa and the Winona community.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. I absolutely love it. It sounds real exciting. So, and you mentioned that there's something going on at Minnesota Marine Art Museum. So you have down there, we mentioned a little bit Broken World Records, Swashbuckler, and then there was someone, is it Syntax or what? That is the other artist.
That's John C.S. Keston and Mike Hodnick, also, a.k.a. Kindom. They're both sound artists from the Twin Cities, and they do like live coding and all kinds of cool stuff. So I don't. It's the performance is called Syntax. That starts at 9 at Broken Worlds, and people can show up and just check it out.
Are there other events going on around town and other places around town then, or
the sort of two off-site things? One is the sort of opening the with Margaret, and then the event at Broken Worlds. Other than that, everything is going to take place at Winona State in the science, the SLC, the Science Learning Center, and
Laird Norton,
and the Laird Norton building across the street from the city library. So
cool. Well, if there's some folks at home and they're like, that sounds kind of neat, but I don't know. What do you think could push them over the edge? How could we get them here? If we haven't already, because that's Interspace, the colonoscopy thing.
I'm not necessarily going to do such a hard sell on it, but it's really,
I know,
beautiful.
But that it just shows. It just shows I think it shows the variety and the extent you can take things, or
Yeah. But I think what's interesting is that you can take a subject and you can look at it in a totally different way and completely transform it. I think this is the thing that's really interesting, and we're kind of challenging the space. We have this 24-foot mural from Tommy Mintz. And we have these different installations that are asking that are as I said, they're really different, and we've got Yamin Zhu from Bowling Green State University. He's got this sculpture that he wears on his shoulder called Iris, and it's a ball that kind of reacts to how you look at it. So
wow.
So the thing is that really what happens is that they're maybe what I'm gonna do is kind of push everybody over the edge to say, there's gonna be something for you. That you may not be into everything, but there's gonna be something there for you that you're gonna have some fun with.
Right. Right.
And so that's what that's the invitation. That's the call. So come on in.
Yeah. And for my part, I think. With the conference end of things, I mean, what do I value? I've gone to a lot of different kinds of academic things, and what I like is small and friendly, really. I mean, they're these structured talks, but I really see them as a sort of pretext for, a small group of people to kind of mingle and ask questions, because it's it's interesting to see how other people work. And one of the things I think you quickly discover living in Winona is that there's all kinds of interesting folks around town doing their own thing. And when you start having these kinds of conversations, you find out that this is a really kind of a great place to be. And so for me, I think working on these sorts of things is I want my students to know when they come to something like this that, well, you're here in a special place. You belong at these kinds of events, doing these sorts of things, meeting with people.
Right.
You have something to contribute to it. So I think for me that the inducement to come to something like this would be, the chance to interact with people in a sort of playful, human way. I don't really. It's hard for me to get in. I get impressed easily by people, but I don't really get impressed by, people's reputations as much as I am by, like, are you a nice person?
Yeah,
and that's what I'm going for is, like, let's have an event.
And I think the other thing that we're really trying to do is we're really trying to be inclusive. It's like all levels, all types, all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's like if you want to be. If you want to have fun, we can have fun. If we want to have, an academic conversation, we can have that. We can do,
do whatever.
Do whatever. We just want to, hang out, and talk about art. Or we want to, go run around circles and, around the big mural. And it's like, we want to go kayaking. We can do kayaking. That's great.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, and it gives people something to kind of come together over. To open up discussions about these things and stuff like that. It sounds like there's a lot of pushing of boundaries, maybe, like a term I've used in the past, and I don't mean in a derogatory way, but like abusing things such as the tools, like pushing them further and doing things that they weren't meant to do to see what else can come out of it, Like I had a friend who used to take like JPEGs and drop them in his audio program. And see what kind of sounds it would make, and things like that. How important do you guys think it is to like push those boundaries or break the rules, so to speak?
I think I think number one, it's essential. But the other thing is that one thing I'm going to be talking about. Ways in which media is being subverted, and in some good ways and some bad ways. That sort of thing in my talk. And I think what happens is that, I think what we're trying to have a conversation on, the one thing we're trying to build, with iDMAa is, this space in which we can think deeply about these things and think about ways that we can build the best media culture. And the one thing is that for me, I mean, I came here, I've only been here a year, and I was living in Dubai for 5 years. So I mean, I have this really global perspective of things. So what happens is that it's really interesting to me to try to build these bridges between the world that I've lived in and the world that I live in now, and basically maybe stir up a little bit of conversation, and say that say what this is, Winona is part of the world,
right.
Exactly.
It's all, yeah. And I think, conversations like this, conversations that like the conference will provide, can help people to see that or to make connections outside of their normal circle or outside of their geographic area. It makes it, I know, the internet, we can all connect. But when you meet someone face to face and then you connect later online, there's something a little different there.
Bingo.
Something you have a real strong connection. You got the frequency dialed in. It's coming in crystal clear. So
what's the frequency, Kenneth?
Right.
Yeah, I think about you mentioned about sort of the idea of sort of abusing your tools or messing around with them in provocative ways. And for my part, I kind of come out of sort of DIY kind of punk rock sort of subcultures. As a youth, I'm very sort of fascinated and interested in the idea that sort of wherever you happen to be, that's what's going on. Like that's where it is, and you got to make it you make the things that are interesting. I think a lot of people, we're in the habit of living in a world where you subscribe to things that happen elsewhere, and you spend your life looking at what other people are doing and thinking, well, at the best, I could be a second-rate knockoff of something that's a lot more well-produced, a lot more, invested in by and cultivated by some company or whatever.
Right.
And I think you make the culture that's interesting for you. And that's what that's part of it is I've learned so much by trying to make my own things and spending less time focused on what people think I ought to be doing. And when I worry about what people think I ought to be doing, I tend to create a lot of stress for myself. I get poor results when I try to be myself, when I try to be honest, when I try to be true, when I try to do things the best that I can. It's when I get the most out of things. And I think especially for me, the part of my job that makes me happy is interacting with my students. And
Totally.
I want them to know that. I want them to know that you can just sort of wake up one day and you can make something happen. You can make something happen. You can you can cut a hole in your shirt. You can grab a Sharpie and start writing on something. You can dip your head in a bucket of paint, or whatever. I mean, there's things that you can do, and it immediately alters the sort of situation that you're in. And obviously, you don't. Maybe you do. I don't know. You don't want to dip your head in like lead-based paint,
Or at least not breathe it in or swallow it.
Right. But the reality is that you actually have a lot of power in the world around you, and the more that people are aware of that, and the more they tune into that, and if you think about it that in relation to art, you take that sort of raw power that a person actually has. And you focus it in a purposeful way that maybe creates beauty or joy or awareness or alters people's experience in a way that's socially positive. These are all wonderful things.
Which can also alter your experience then,
absolutely.
back, I think if the truer you stay to yourself in your work and your vision, you will make stronger connections, whether it's an audience or a friend or, I think that's pretty fantastic, and that's a cool thing about a conference like this.
One thing I think is really kind of amazing is that, and I remember this when I was younger. It's that it's one of those things that you go to something and say it's like, it's like that's somebody else, or I can't do that, or something like that. And it's like, or you have to be this, you have to be that. No, you don't. No, you don't. See, the thing is that it's like if this is something that you have even an interest or passion, or you want to be a dabbler, or you want to get really into it and make it part of your life or something like that, it's really about seeing these things, getting involved in that sort of thing. And one thing working with my students, even in the year that I've been here, I have a handful of students who are like sort of really amazed that they can actually do some things that are really that they didn't realize that they could do. And this is the magic, I think, about teaching and all that. And that's when they go, it's like, I didn't think I was supposed to be able to do that. I says like, sure you can. You totally can. And it's like, and then just go, and you get that smile, and that's just really just an amazing thing.
It's like getting permission to do it. Getting permission to do what you feel, and or permission to feel and show it. Things like that. Pretty great. I've been here talking to Patrick Lichty and Davin Heckman. They're both professors here at Winona State and helped organize the Weird Media Conference that's happening this weekend. It's June 24th through the 26th, so Friday through Saturday. Mainly here on the campus of Winona State University. Did you say the kickoff event was at Minnesota Marine Art Museum? What time does that happen?
So 1:30 is when Margaret will be
on Friday?
Talking. Yes.
Okay. So more information on it, go to iDMAa.org. There will be a lot of details there. There's also a Facebook page for iDMAa. It's International Digital Media Art Association. And I think as far as tickets go, is that how people get tickets? Go to the website, or?
Yeah, there's a registration page that you can find at iDMAa.org.
Okay.
And I think it's, full registration is $175. Student registration is $50.
Yeah, but you can just come to the art exhibit.
And
Yeah,
that's
you can,
that's for
yeah,
the
you can
conference
come to
and
the
workshops.
that's for the workshops and the conference
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
You can come to the exhibition.
Come on in.
Free to
and,
the public, right?
Yeah, yes, and you can come see the band, and the performances at Broken World. So, I want to see Winona there.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
totally. And you can learn the truth about earwax.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Exactly.
So this weekend, get weird, Winona, and get over here to the conference, art exhibit. It sounds like a festival to me. It sounds like a lot of fun. So,
That's the
a lot
plan.
of cool
Yeah.
stuff. Everything from outer space to inner space. So
Yeah, I mean, the one thing for me is that I've curated like a lot of shows around the world and that sort of thing. I'm really glad to be able to do something, my own hometown and
Right.
do something fun.
Yeah,
I hope
yeah.
other people have fun with it too.
Yeah, bring it here. Yeah, for sure. So go to the website, iDMAa. Did I say enough A's there?
Two
I think I
A's.
did.
There's two A's. Yeah.
I might have said 3. I don't know.
That's okay.
But
.org. Yeah.
yeah, I'm giving it a shot. So
Okay.
that's Artbeat, folks. And thanks so much, you guys, for joining us today. Really
Thank you.
appreciate you coming in.
Yeah. Thank you.
Heartbeat is written and produced by KQAL FM on the campus of Winona State University. Visit us on the web at kqal.org.